nasty. Hello, lovely denizens of the internet. Welcome to Once Upon a Game. Welcome, players. Welcome, audience. Welcome, people watching in the far-flung future. If you are watching this, you must be a fan of Eric or have somehow heard of one of us, which is awesome, by the way. My name is Michael, and we're going to be playing a really weird game I designed called Seasons of the Witch. It is about magic and feelings and messy relationships and witch covens fighting and falling in love. Like I said, my name is Michael. I use he, him pronouns. And let me introduce the cast. Elle, you go first.
Hi, I'm Elle. I use these are pronouns, and you can find me on Twitter at occasional and you can find the thing that I'm doing where I'm organizing a non-binary people in TTRPG month at non-binary TTRPGM. It's this month of August. Woo!
Okay, that's awesome, by the way. I didn't know about that. Sweet. There is a link in chat. Dear, I'm sorry.
Hi, it's Deirdre. It's fine.
Deirdre, thank you. I'm sorry. I just met these people. Forgive me.
It's okay. I answer to D, I answer to Deirdre, and I occasionally answer to Prax. You might find me on Twitch as Praxagora Thesmiophoria, hanging out in various Twitch chats, but you can find me on Twitter at Deirdre Donlin, where I talk about classics and RPGs, fun things. You can call me she, her, or hey you. It all works. I respond to all.
Awesome. Before we continue, I just wanted to remind everyone that the X card is in play, and if anything you are uncomfortable with in the game, please communicate so we can make sure everyone is safe and comfortable and has a fun time. Cool?
Cool.
Sweet. All right. So I believe I have covered everything that's in my contract. Eric can yell at me if I'm wrong. Thank you. So let's talk a little bit about the game. Seasons of the Witch has a big, long blurb that I'm not going to read because, gotta leave them wanting more. But the gist of it is there are 3 factions in this Firebrand-style RPG about witches. A group of witches that are controlled, sort of enslaved, it's hard to tell, by the Church of the Moon, called the Vested. They have complex relationships with all other magic users in the setting. The Wild Ones, who live on the fringes of society and practice weird, very witchy, very pagan rituals. They're the most witchy witches in this game, and they don't like anybody. And then the Lost, who are basically gangsters with magic, which is awesome. And one of us is going to be playing one of these factions, and we're going to be playing characters from those factions, and it'll be weird and fun and awesome. Do my players have questions? Because I know that was a terrible explanation.
Nope.
Not yet.
Not yet? Okay. Does everyone have the PDF open?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So let's talk about concepts a little bit, because this is a Firebrand style game. Everybody kind of needs to talk about what they want to play.
Mm-hmm.
Does anyone have anything that they are hard, I don't want to be the religious person, or what have you, or anything that they're really excited about exploring? Right away?
Well, I mean, I could play type and
Play type?
I figure I really enjoy playing mobsters for some reason. It's fun. I like gangs.
That's part of the reason I made them a gang, was just because I wanted this weird, like, sort of like Italian mob, sort of Mexican drug cartel gang of witches. And it works. So would you like to play to type?
Oh, I will definitely play to my Sicilian family and stand up. And I might be connected. It's okay. You don't need to know. It's fine.
Yeah. It's okay. I got an Uncle Tony, too. It's fine.
Tony's not who you should worry about.
Bada bing, bada boom. Anyway. Elle, what are you thinking? Do you have strong feelings?
I was looking at the Wild Ones.
Okay. What drew you to them besides the fact that they're super duper witchy?
Mostly that they're like super duper witchy, and
I
I find that
figured.
stuff like cool and
Okay.
interesting.
So be sure to read over their little blurb under the faction descriptions just to make sure they're exactly what you want to play. I've played everything in this game at least once, so I'm pretty flexible. It sounds like I'm playing the Vested by default, which is okay because I can be weird and religious and have conflicting moral views. It's almost like I'm Catholic. That is a joke. That is a joke at my own expense. We already told the Sicilian mobster joke. We might as well get in a Catholic jab here and there. So the Vested are. I'll read the description of my stuff. The Vested are witches and apostates that serve the Church of the Moon. Not all are willing, although many have religious fervor as a motive for recruiting other witches to their cause. They're sort of the most socially acceptable. The church finds those that they believe have magical potential as infants and then brings them to cloisters. They don't like the wild ones. They call them demon worshippers. They don't get along very well. And they just sort of suppress the idea that the lost even exist because that means that the church finding people failed. So they're real great people. I'm glad we have a Roll20 now because I can write stuff down. So I will be playing a Vested. And that means I get to pick my... you get to pick from the list of one positive trait, one flaw, and I get to describe my vestments in my first miracle. So I'm going to be inspiring and close-minded. My rivals are the wild ones. My enemies are the lost. And I imagine very like 13th century monk with like the tonsure in my mind for my vestments. And I think my first miracle was like something a little weird, like something with fun flavor. What do you guys think? Any ideas?
Well, let's see.
It could have like it could be as weird as you turned a person into salt because that's like straight out of the Bible and terrifying, and I kind of like that one. Or maybe it's something like totally out of character for everything else. Like I made like wine out of water or something like that.
That's also from the Bible.
That is also from the Bible. Well, the Bible's like the easiest source of miracles I can find, right?
Or you can go an inversion of that, and you were at the dinner party and were drinking and having to turn the alcohol into water.
I'm the party pooper. I'm the magical part. I like this better, actually. Okay, so my first miracle was destroying demon liquor. Yes. Okay.
I mean, it could have been accidental, you know.
I think it was accidental, but I'm going to choose to say it was on purpose. in character. D.
Yes.
Let's talk about your lost. Would you like to read your description or?
Okay. The lost, oppressed lowborn that have not been accepted by any other faction. They band together in a search of a common goal and an opportunity to rise above their station. You are lost, maybe hungry, maybe cold, maybe sick. Your magic was a big surprise to you as it was to the rest of the world. If you're a witch and not a vested, you're a wild one, right? Dead wrong. Your mentor came and offered you an opportunity to rise up. You joined a gang of fellow witches, and now you scrap and hustle for every inch of the ladder you can gain.
Liking it so far?
Liking it so far. I think I'm going to go with clever as the positive quality. I'm going to go... Again, I'm going to lean into type here. I'm going to go angry for the negative quality.
Perfect.
It's going to happen.
Tell me about your mentor.
Okay, I'm going to be really, really nerdy here for a minute. and say that she was Cheetah Rivera's character in The Rink. Chicken bottle washer. Now I have that song stuck in my head. I'm sorry.
It's okay. I love this.
It's
and
like,
how ridiculous are your gang colors?
I'm gonna go with the whole look, and it'll be bright coral and blues.
Ooh. I like this.
And it'll be, instead of like traditional, it'll be much more simple clothes because she isn't wealthy, but everything still looks pristine and clean, and nothing to show that she, they might be 6 or 7 seasons out of fashion, but they're good quality and they will keep you going for years. And I think her first miracle was just straight up frustration at the amount of things that had to be cleaned in her house, and just said no, and all of the dishes washes themselves.
And then Fantasia started. Perfect. That's exactly the kind of weird and wonderfulness I want out of that question. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Elle, tell me a little bit about the wild ones.
Okay. Reclusive but powerful, these isolationists live on the fringes of society and are seen as monsters by many. Stories of them making pacts with demons and stealing children are common among outsiders, but only those within know the truth. Wild ones are born into the order and are brought up in covens. They are few and far between, squabbling among themselves in a form of magical natural selection. When a witch of sufficient power rises, they unite the covens and strike out at the civilized world.
Sound still your jam?
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. What are you thinking for your positive quality?
I'm taking ethereal as my positive quality and scary as my negative quality.
So you're Galadriel. Awesome.
Honestly.
Awesome. Not gonna lie, when I was designing this, I had like combinations that I was like, okay, Galadriel would totally be this thing. Perfect.
Mm-hmm.
Perfect. So your enemies are the vested and the lost. Excuse me, your rivals are other covens. We don't have any of those right now, so don't worry about that. Your enemies are the vested and the lost because you really don't like anyone.
Mm-hmm.
Tell me about your coven. Like how witchy is your coven?
My coven's pretty witchy. So the thing is that when I was a classics major for a semester, I took a class on magic in the ancient world and magic in the Greco-Roman world, and I can get the books that I have. They are right across the room from me. But I'm thinking a lot of stuff like that. I have like written down on my scratch notes.
Like lots of weird lots of weird like fetishes and stuff like that.
Yeah, lots of like tablets, lots of like inscribing things in lead.
Let me throw this tablet with this curse in this lake and hopefully curse, the other things around me.
Yep.
Yes.
Yeah, it's fine.
So this is that won't cause a problem later. Tell me about your familiar.
Yeah, I have. My familiar is a ghostly white rat.
Okay. Super witchy. Witchy.
No, I just finished rat sitting for a friend, and one of the rats, the old man, is a white rat.
Awesome. This is another example of how this game ranges between like weird anime and like fantasy Vietnam. And right now I'm predicting it closer towards fantasy Vietnam, but we'll see what happens.
Yeah. Give me a sec. I'm going to go and get my magic books.
Take your time. Yeah, this is adding so much more to my game than I was expecting. So just to give everyone a little bit more context, this is a Firebrands hack, full disclosure, because Firebrands is awesome and is a great way of designing a GM-less game. So we're all going to be playing scenes, we're going to be doing solos. It's going to be weird and wonderful and hopefully delightful. We should have a good time. That's the hope. Let's see. You got them? Got them? All right. Does anyone have questions for any of the other players? Because I know I've done a lot of like, what's your thing? Tell me your thing. Anybody? Nope. Speak now or forever hold your peace. All righty.
I've got my copy of the Greek Magical Papyri.
Oh.
I've got my copy of Magic in the Ancient World. I've got my copy of the Odyssey of Homer. I'm ready.
Which translation or which version?
This is the Richmond Lattimore translation.
Ah, fun times.
We might need to collaborate on a weird magic game in the future because that's like my brand.
You could play on the 24th.
It really is. It really is. It's not intentional, but so far it is. Everybody by the circle. Okay, so just like Firebrands, which I was told Elle is our resident expert in, which was a great surprise to me. You develop, you pick scenes. They can either be with people or solo. If they're specifically the solo scene, in this current build of the game, the options are solos, meals, a duel, a festival, stealing time, a battle, a ritual, and scrying. So it's not officially in the rules, but I think I've met everybody that's ever played a Firebrands anything or a King is Dead anything always does a solo first to intro the characters. Do we have a problem with this?
Nope.
Nope. Would anyone like to go first?
I'm still trying to find a good name for my character.
That is actually a good thing. GM powers go. Pick a random name. Brother, daughter. Brother, daughter, because I'm into silly names right now.
That works.
Reverend daughter or whatever. We'll figure something out. It'll work itself out eventually. Dee, do you have a solo in mind?
Solo? I'm getting there. I got a name. Hey, that works.
You got a name. Tell me your name. Let's start with that.
Zabina Catalano.
Zabina Catalano. Okay, so you're leaning hard into
yes. I'm going to lean hard in this.
You're almost parallel to the ground right now, and I'm loving it. Elle, still working on a name?
I've got a first name. I've got Kerix, KerYx.
Kerix. Also leaning into the Greek magic witchy stuff, correct?
Yep, got it from a footnote.
Have to love those footnotes.
I picked Reverend Daughter because I looked at the mask of Darth Vader I have hanging on my wall. So, secret to GMing, everybody. Look at random stuff in your room and use it to make up names. That one's for free. I'm funnier in my mind than I am in real life. Okay, so I will run a solo for the Vested.
Mm-hmm.
Just to get the ball rolling because I know the most about this game. Yeah, so I think we see the I think we see a collection of very somewhere between like grim and flamboyant. I don't know how that works, but just imagine it in your mind. Collection of individuals standing at the outside of a large wood. And we like pan across the scene. There's, like guys with swords and lazinecks and whatever. And then there's, at the very front, there's a guy in brown robes with tonsured hair and a messy gray beard, leaning on a thick ashen staff. And I think it's weird that he has a gray beard because he looks really young otherwise. And he leads this procession of witch hunters into the forest to hunt the wild ones. And we just get a still, the camera doesn't move, but we do the time passes and the shadows move. Cut. Does everyone know what I'm talking about?
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
And they just come out looking haggard. Like they went in with like shining like swords and looking like all fancy, and they just come out looking like trash. Like they've just been trekking through mud pointlessly for hours. And maybe someone's bleeding, but they don't exactly can't exactly tell where. Like they cover it and then it bleeds somewhere else. Weird magical wounds, and it's very obvious the hunters became the hunted. And Reverend Daughter is obviously disturbed by this. All right. Who wants to go next?
I've got a scene.
Tell me your scene.
Okay, I'm taking a church inquisitor comes to your door. He attacks you and you're forced to take his life. I think that
So it's Vietnam then.
So what happens is that this inquisitor comes to my door, and I'm in the middle of preparing a ritual, and I'm very obviously in the middle of doing this.
You're like in some
there's things scattered all over the floor. There's like a bunch of chalk markings everywhere, and I open the door for him, and he immediately is like, "You're like, hey, you're like really obviously wild here and not under the church."
Yeah,
and
there's like no
like there's no question there, and maybe there's a little bit of like, maybe I like goad him a little bit, and he attacks, and
you're just like take off your like weird like ritual mask, or like, yes.
Like, what? Excuse me, what? No, of course not. Magic me? No.
It's for my glaucoma, officer, I swear.
And I have to kill him or be killed.
And
now I have a nice body to use in a ritual.
So do we see you just like kill the person, or do we just like get the cut of like the stare down and then just flopping a cadaver on like an altar or something?
Definitely that second one.
Okay.
Look, my negative trait is scary. I feel like I have to lean into that.
Perfect. D.
All right, I'm gonna go with you and your gang are running a protection racket when an old woman refuses to pay. Excuse me a minute.
We're good people here, everybody, I swear.
I don't got a problem.
Okay.
Now, the way this works is you pan into the little shop, and you see Zabina very calmly just standing there, and she's talking very politely. And then you see the woman she's talking with just refuse to have anything to do with her. Zabina just sighs and says, "Are you sure this is what you want? All right, then." And as she walks out, she puts her hand next to the door that had the warding glyph that protected this particular shop and showed that it was protected by the family. And using a little bit of fire magic, just kind of burns that glyph away, circles with her fingers and says, "I hope you have a very pleasant day. Don't worry about the gentleman down the street. I'm sure they won't kill you in your sleep."
Sure would be a shame if there was a fire here.
Yeah.
Shame. And I know that this is a difficult situation, and I understand that it's not an insult against me or my family, but it kind of feels like an insult against me. So we're just gonna remove you from our list. We'll remove you from the list.
I love the idea of this old woman like kind of thinking you're bullshitting and just like sitting there like sweeping And then we cut back and her place is just on fire.
And I'm just sitting there going, make sure you get all the evidence, leave the gun, take the cannolis.
Leave the gun, take the gun.
I had to.
So you're like this kind of angle now. You're like head is touching the ground. It's great. You're leading really effectively into this role.
Look, Firebrands is the best game for just being on your bullshit.
I love it. I love it. Okay. Does anyone? I don't know where to go from there. Does anyone have any strong feelings about a scene they'd like to do first? Because if not, I have an idea.
Let's go with your idea. They've been fun so far.
I'm going to scry on whoever killed my coworker.
Fair.
So we'll scroll down. We're having a silly night, everyone. If you'll scroll down to the very bottom of the PDF, you'll see the rules for scrying. We're having a very silly night. Hey, if you want to name the VOD that, I bless you, my son. Go forth. Scrying, name a target. Their role. 1 through 3, they don't know you're watching them. 4 to 6, they do. What is your character's name again?
My character's name is Carix.
Carix, would you please roll 1d6 to see if you know that I'm watching you or not?
Nope. That's a 4.
You do know that I'm watching you. So what does this look like?
Let's see. So I think that I've just finished like the ritual that I was doing with the body of your coworker, and I'm like washing.
Is he like hanging,
hands.
like flayed out, or like is it obvious that you've just like desecrated a body, or are you just like?
No, I'm in a different room, and
Okay.
I'm like washing my hands in like those basins you have for like washing laundry.
Mhm.
I'm like
Just
washing my hands, and there's like
Lady
It's just
Macbeth
kinda
trying
like
to
a
get the
lot of
blood off your
blood.
hands.
yeah.
It's just a dagger I see before me. I took a lot of Shakespeare classes in college.
Out foul spot.
Out foul spot. So yeah. So you're like washing your hands,
Mm-hmm.
and then suddenly you just like hear like a foot tapping behind you. It's like astral projection is just like watching this.
Mm-hmm. Like turn around, and I do like the same thing that I did with your coworker, which is what? Excuse me? Is there a problem?
Are you? I think he goes to speak, but for whatever reason, either the magic didn't work right, but you just can't. Like his lips just move and nothing happens. He looks distinctly unamused by whatever you're playing at. I'm gonna use this opportunity to ask a question.
Okay.
Like, are you like earnestly like, I don't care what I just did, or do you not realize you like just murdered someone in cold blood?
No,
In my mind.
Yeah.
Are you like guilty?
I don't think there's guilt because it was self-defense, and then it's like not letting things go to waste. Look, I have a perfectly good body here.
I get it, you know? And cadavers are so hard to find this time of year. It's rainy and they just rot too. Anyway, I won't bore you with the details. Keep in mind you can attempt to sever the connection at any time, or you can just fuck with him because that's fun too. It is entirely your choice.
Yeah, I think that like I just it's kind of like I finish washing my hands. I like go over to like the soap that I've been making, and like tap it out of its molds. It's got lavender in it. Like just kind of like go about the kind of like witchy adjacent, but not actually magic things that I have in my house. And just like,
Mhm.
sometimes you just gotta like sweep the floor and ring some bells. That's not magic. That's just a thing that I do.
It's painfully obvious that he's giving you a tirade the entire time.
Yeah.
But he can't actually you can't actually like hear him. His lips are just moving and he's like gesticulating hither and thither.
So you hit mute on the annoying man who showed
Exactly. Exactly. And I don't think he realizes it. I think he's just like, I think there's a point where he's even like, and it's just nothing's coming out. Like maybe you hear the snapping, but you can't hear his voice.
Mm-hmm.
Are you at all worried about this situation, or are you just like, you can't prove I did anything wrong, officer?
I think there's some worry, but I'm like hiding it under a bunch of bravado. Like bravado. That's how you.
Awesome.
That's how you put the accent on that word.
I knew what you meant, but I love it. Bravado is the wild one saying expression.
Yeah.
We do not speak your civilized accent, Marks. Anyway. Yeah, like I think he tries to like pick stuff up but realizes he can't and looks just mildly annoyed. Like maybe he was trying to teleport here and he's only now realized he's trying.
There.
Yeah, he's like, and he looks annoyed at this.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe his like, and like it's obvious he's like trying to like be dignified and stuff, but he's also like, why can't I just like pick this shit up and throw it at her or something?
Mm-hmm.
What is your opinion of this guy? Because he just kind of showed up and started acting ridiculous.
My opinion of this guy is that he's incompetent.
Accurate. I am aware that is accurate. He is going to get offended. I think he's just gonna like turn to like yell at you and then like look at something like behind him and then disappear. and that's our first attempt at Scotty.
Things are going really well. Everybody's friends.
Everybody's friends. We're gonna meet in a bar later and just have like an intellectual debate over something stupid.
And you'll get way too impassioned about it and storm out.
Yeah, exactly. I'm everyone I hate on the internet. Shit. Okay, it's a character. D, how are you feeling? Do you have any ideas?
Okay, I can breathe again. Sorry.
Deep breath.
Breathe.
Don't choke. Don't choke.
No, choking would be bad. Let's see. I guess I don't know. I mean, I think she's going to be a professional, right?
Mm-hmm.
She's going to be clever and she's going to be professional and just kind of make it like a standard operating procedure. She always like, rotating periods in her schedule. She just scries on the caps to make sure that it's like, I know that wiretap's there. Let me make sure it's not actually on, kind of thing.
Or feed it some just bullshit. Yeah, totally. So I'm guessing that means you want to scry on me, correct?
I think I'm going to scry on Reverend Daughter.
Perfect.
You need to roll that D6, right?
I'm aware.
You are definitely aware.
I am so aware it's almost a critical success. Yeah, you totally scry on him while he's in the bath. Yeah, he's like in like a giant brass tub, like shirtless and like Barbie doll attractive. Like he's so attractive, it's like what's wrong with you? Like what doesn't work here?
Mm-hmm.
And he's just like sitting there like drinking a martini or something. Something totally ridiculous and out of character.
And she's just gonna go like, I'm gonna take a note on that. Gonna make sure it's like entirely inappropriate behavior from the priest. Make a note of that.
He goes to take a like drink from his whatever has an umbrella. It just looks at you for a second.
Hi.
Oh, bother.
I know it's been so long since we've talked, but
what do you?
I wanted to make sure that we are aware of what's going on.
What do you want, Sabrina?
Well, you owe us money.
Again? I paid you the last time.
Interest is a thing, dear, and you never paid us off all the way.
Yeah, he just like stands up in the bath and like gets a towel.
She doesn't care. She's like, you don't count until you finish paying us off.
You don't count.
No, mixing business and pleasure doesn't happen. Also, money is money, and that's important to her. Also, by the way, a couple of your young gentlemen might not be coming back next week.
Question.
Yes.
Is this because of an issue of parentage, or are they dead?
Well, no. Dead is not what they are. Dead is definitely not what they are.
Oh, joy. Yeah, he puts on like a way too decadent smoking jacket.
I
totally leaves it open just because he can.
I do believe that a certain young gentleman might prefer to be dead, but...
Oh, is it Thomas again?
No, Thomas is easy. We can deal with him. He drinks, he carouses, it's easy. That's fine. No, I believe this young man's name was Joshua. And I do believe that he met a young girl's father last night.
Oh. A round of drinks for the happy couple. Like he hasn't realized you're just like projecting yourself, and he goes to pour you, and he like goes to hand you a glass.
Why do you do this? I'm not really here. I am never really here. Are you doing this just to fuck with me?
Possibly.
Either
way, it's amusing.
Make a note of that. Oh, yes. So Joshua met this young lady and her father last evening. And I do believe young Samuel discovered that the woods have eyes. Yes.
I was just attempting to deal with that situation before I slipped into the bath.
No.
Not that situation.
No. That young gentleman is very dead. No,
I figured.
No, well, he screwed up. Samuel unfortunately discovered that the woods have eyes. And,
you're not going to tell me what that means, are you?
If you don't know what it means, dear, I can't really explain it to you. You obviously need to spend more time in the real world. I can introduce you to some people that'll help you understand.
Are you soliciting me?
No.
Drat. How much do I owe you?
If you want to pay off the whole thing, or are you just paying your installment for the month? The installment is $2,000. We can make a deal. We can always make deals.
How about we meet for lunch to discuss?
Non concettas.
Bene.
And leave the weapon behind this time.
It's a stick! Cut. I'll tell you. Oh my goodness.
So was that about this being Vietnam?
Hey, there was some like sketchy Vietnam. I don't know.
It's World War II with Lucky Luciano spying on the Mussolini for the Americans.
Perfect. And then there's some crazy lady living out in the woods killing people. Crazy person. Crazy person. I'm sorry. I forgot.
She's not. They are not crazy.
They are not crazy.
It was self-defense and it was only one person.
Exactly.
Tell it to the judge. Speaking of judges, would you like to pick a scene?
Yes. So the next thing that I was going to do was I was going to invite the Reverend over for a meal.
Perfect.
But also, I could just invite myself to your lunch.
I think that's more interesting. Eric has that "this is great" smile. Oh, anyway. Yeah. So tell us about this restaurant that you've arranged this meeting at, Sabrina.
Okay. Nonna Conchetta's is a small little hole in the wall in the city. There are like 3 tables, a couple candles on the tables. It's it's old and worn, but very clean. Like you could eat off this floor, but you could definitely see where the floor has been scrubbed so much that it's like removed the varnish off the wood.
Yeah, I know. Yes. Yes.
We're leaning into this.
I love it. No, this is great.
And there are these large, silent, hulking gentlemen that stand around and stare at everybody and wait tables. But the person who runs this is this tiny 4.5 foot tall older woman who only responds to the name Mona. For those of you who don't speak Italian, that's grandmother. And she stands there and rules this entire room and possibly the entire street. She knows everything. She knows everybody. She knows that nobody's going to be coming into her place and making a mess on her floor. You make a mess, you clean it up, which is why Sabina always goes there, because she knows that no one is going to mess with Nonna.
Mm-hmm.
Also, she has the best cannolis.
Perfect. Yeah. So I think we see him like significantly dressed down from where we saw him in his private chambers, because he's like out in public now and he has to like look less classy.
Pretend that he's serving the church.
Yeah, pretend that he's serving the church, because what else are you gonna do with your free time? He kind of like swoops in, not carrying his stick. He looks mildly annoyed at that, and it's like he's like reaching for. He's like trying to lean up. It's not there. Damn it! And he just like waves, "Hello, gentlemen. Hello, Mona," and he like goes to give her a hug, and I'm assuming she like hits him with a spoon or something.
Yeah, probably. She just like smacks him. It's like, no, you don't deserve that.
I will take a cannoli. And then he just sits down.
And you just see, and Sabina's already there, just sipping coffee and going, "That's the 3rd time that's happened. You'd think he'd stop." We're waiting for one more, by the way.
Oh, it's one of those meetings. Okay.
Yes. Would you like more than a cannoli and a coffee?
I'll have the red.
Nonna, una mezzolita di vino locale rosso, signora. Per piacere? Grazie.
I actually speak Italian. I'm impressed. So yeah, he's just like sipping his wine because he assumes this is going to be a shady business deal, not a random person that he has to look like an authority to showing up.
Yeah, like I think that like you're about halfway through your coffee or your wine now. Sorry,
I'm drinking coffee. He's having the wine.
I feel like he's having both. I feel like it's very good. Yeah, doing that number.
Carrick's comes in and they're wearing like a big black coat that kind of like whooshes out. There's a word for that. Flares out behind them, and like a long skirt, and just kind of like looking like every person you've ever seen like shop in an incense store. And
This is the going out witch.
yes, this is a going out witch, and they have their familiar on their shoulder.
This white rat.
Yeah.
It's like you look like not normal, but at least like reasonable, and then you just have like a rat.
Yeah, it's a ghostly white rat, and they like come in and they like, oh, hello, hello, Sabina, and it's so good to see you in person.
Oh, you two haven't met
bother.
yet, Reverend. This is Carix. Carix, this is Reverend Daughter. I thought we should all get together and get to know each other. Nona, another round of coffees, and I do believe we need the arancini for this.
Just takes a longer sip of his wine, looking mildly annoyed.
And you just see the hulking figures who all have some familial resemblance to Nana Conchetta start to move themselves out of the space and just kind of moving to the doors.
Nona runs a well-oiled machine.
She does. It's very efficient.
Okay. We should probably
more
actually
organized than you are.
I have no comment. I feel like we should actually do the meal scene at some point, because even though this is great, we should probably use the mechanics of the game.
Sorry.
No, it's okay. It's okay. So much of Firebrands is riffing. It's great. Yeah. Yeah, I think I'm just trying to keep Crix occupied while I do something totally ridiculous. Like try to slide Sabrina money. Do you notice?
I think I do notice. I don't comment on it. I just like do a little like eyebrow raise.
Yeah, I think it's just like he does something totally like not even in the moderate bonds of normal. Like I think he just like chugs his wine and burps loudly as he like throws a coin, throws like a bag of money. This is no longer Vietnam. This is ridiculous anime. I was wrong. I'm sorry. It happens.
Can be both.
Can be both. There could be a ridiculous Vietnam anime. I'm sure that exists. I don't know if it's good, but I'm sure it exists.
This is true. This is true. And you just see Sabina drinking and
look at the money that has just landed in her lap. This month and next. When it's obvious that you've noticed and haven't commented.
And she just takes a sip, subtly and very smoothly just kind of moves the entire money bag into her purse in like one smooth movement as she puts the cup down and turns to Kirix and says, well, so kind of you to be able to join us. I know that you two really should have met. I mean, we all should know who we are, and pleasantries are important.
We have sort of met. He has, I have seen him before, but we weren't quite able to open a line of communication.
Well, you wouldn't be the first, darling.
God, unfortunately not.
Most people pay extra for that. I'm sorry, that's not my business. That's your business. I don't think he knows if it's actually your business. I think he just wanted to insult you and call you a madam, because that's what he assumes everyone that lives in the streets does, is sell themselves.
Darling.
Yes.
The interest went up.
I know who's not stealing time with anybody. This guy.
It's all good. It's all good.
It'll be fun.
It'll be hilariously funny. It is. She then turns to Kirix and says, well, I know that everyone does enjoy a good meal now and then, and sometimes one needs to be able to have a public conversation, or in some cases, arrange a quiet meeting. I thought that this wouldn't be an appropriate venue, and I think the two of you have a conversation that I don't need to be a part of. And she then gets up very calmly and walks out the door.
He takes your cannoli.
Sorry, he goes to take the cannoli and it's not there.
Bugger.
And you just have, and the whole place is empty except for the two of you and Nona Conjetto, who's just kind of standing at the counter, staring at you.
Well, this is fun. I'm feeling expansive. What do you want to know about me?
What do I want to know about you? I just want to know what your deal is.
I think he was forced into the church, and now he's just like using it for what it's good for and ignoring what it's bad for. I think that's his deal. And he thought he could probably intimidate you and get some street credit and like get some credit from his like supervisors or whatever. But that's not obvious, so he doesn't give a shit anymore. It's obviously not possible. So he's just like, yeah, whatever. Fuck it. Fuck it. I'm gonna be the worst priest ever, and it's gonna be fun.
This terrible, terrible priest.
Exactly. But there were so many people like that in the Middle Ages, it's not even funny.
Yeah.
There were a couple of popes like that, and yeah, that's exactly what he is.
Wait, I have a very important question. Is he is he a Borgia Pope or is he a Clement Pope?
That is a good question. I have not decided yet.
Sorry.
I don't imagine he's particularly Borgia because, you know, incest is creepy.
Very.
Anyway, watch the Borgias, everybody. Don't watch the Borgias. Read a book.
Or six.
Read a book about the Porsches.
Read a book about the Borgias. They're a terrifying family. You could write a sitcom about them for sure. Do you have any questions? Does that answer your question? That he's just ridiculous and doesn't give a shit? And only wants to look presentable when he thinks it'll be advantageous to him, but the rest of the time he doesn't care.
Let's see. I hope you don't bring the person I murdered up, do you?
I think he bring. Are you okay? And it says so much about him no matter what he does. I'm just going to do something ridiculous and see what happens. I think it's something stupid. It's like, so how was your recent trip to the butcher shop?
I go, I'm a vegetarian, and they take a tiny bit of their meal and they feed it to their rat.
Ah. So there's no steak in your icebox per se. I assume you have an icebox.
No. I do. There's almost nothing in it.
Almost. Okay, good to know. Good to know. Yeah, he did have kids. Could we get him back?
No. He did attack me first.
That is also good to know. He was a bit of a dick anyway. Pops cannoli in mouth. Just unceremoniously, just like, he was a bit of a dick. These cannolis are delicious. Do you eat cannoli much where you're from?
No, lots of berries.
Sounds terrible.
Well, what do you eat where you're from? I'm sure it's equally as bad.
It feels like a perfect place to cut. just looking at him dumbfounded, just like, did you legitimately just ask me that question? And it looks like he's about to go into an impetuous tirade. But he just sips his wine, and that's the end of the scene. Oh my goodness. Whipped cream is heresy, whoever you are in chat.
That would be me.
Don't put that in a cannoli.
I don't. I currently live in Atlanta, and unfortunately, there are people who honestly believe that whipped cream belongs in a cannoli. It is heresy and needs to be taken out and shot, but this is an unfortunate reality of my existence at the moment.
That's the South.
Barbecue, great. Italian food, not so much.
I have strong feelings about this, but we don't have time for that. What ridiculousness would we like to do next?
I know that was my scene, so I don't have to choose.
Does anyone have strong feelings?
No, I'm just having fun with this tonight.
Me too. We did a meal. We did scrying. A couple times we did scrying.
I mean,
I'm going to try. There's always festival, which is fun.
Mm-hmm.
The other one I was thinking is I could do a weird stealing time. But we'll see. Let's do a festival. I'm going to keep the stealing time in my back pocket. Yeah. What kind of festival is this? Anyone have ideas, feelings? Is it the cannoli festival?
No, it's even better.
It's even better.
Yeah, because now we've been talking about it in chat. And we've been talking about Ferraras, which, by the way, best cannolis on the East Coast. Fight me. I
don't live on the East Coast. I'm sorry.
Yeah, well.
I live very much in the middle of the country.
I'm sorry for you.
Barbecue's good.
Barbecue's good. But since it's the end of the summer, and in about 3 weeks I will not be able to attend, but it will be happening. There's the San Gennaro Festival in Little Italy. Mounds of people and colors and food and just games, and it also, kind of looks like a festival that you would see in a classic medieval town. You've got the statues being carried out of the Madonna down the streets with the money being pinned on her for good wishes, and lights being flown, and everybody getting a little verschnookered. And
perfect.
What do you think, Elle?
I'm all about this. I think it would be more interesting if it was also a masquerade. I know I'm not Elle. I'm sorry.
Masquerades are good. I was just going to suggest it being like an equinox or the other one.
So we're gonna throw Carnivale in with the solstice with a street festival. And
perfect.
Spray it.
And the mask. Yeah.
Carnivale, Venice.
Masquerade.
Yeah, put that in the shaker, pour it over ice. It'll be great. My rum's gone now. Okay. Yeah, so people are pinning
I have a prop for this.
You have a prop for this.
Wait, so do I. Hold on. Give me 1 second.
I have a prop too. Give me a second. Okay, I'm not going to do that because that's ridiculous. I'm sorry we're ruining your show, Eric. We love you. It's what happens when you get 3 tired people in a room together to play a ridiculous game. Okay. Yeah. Also, yeah, totally. Yeah, totally. This is actually his mask too. Like, he doesn't care. Oh, I need another drink. That is an awesome mask, by the way.
My souvenir for myself from Venice.
That's so pretty. I could have a conversation about arts and crafts right now, but I'm not gonna because we have a limited amount of time. Yeah, so yeah, I think Reverend Daughter is basically wearing a giant Wookiee suit, but it's like a legally distinct Wookiee.
Wait, important question. Is Reverend Daughter a furry?
I'm gonna roll 1d6, high or low. Call it. Actually, odds or evens. Call it.
Odds.
Okay. D6. He is not a furry, unfortunately.
Oh. Aw, sad day.
He's totally getting hit on by furries though, and doesn't get it. I apologize to any furries for stereotyping you.
I'm not gonna say anything.
It's okay. This is my Christmas gift from my aunt-in-law. Anyway, yeah, so he's like, yeah, I think he's just like being ridiculous and over the top because he's wearing a mask and no one can tell who he is. But anyone that knows him is like, that's clearly him, isn't it? And I don't know how. If someone wants to tell me what tips them off, go for it.
Oh, no, I know. It's one of these questions. It's the band plays your favorite tune. What is it and how do you react?
Something very, very bawdy. Like
the Tarantella?
Yeah. And I think he just grabs the nearest person. Doesn't matter. Just grabs the nearest person and just starts dancing. And everybody's like, oh, that's him, isn't it? Perfect.
I got 3 to 2 odds on the him falling flat on his face.
I'll take you up on that.
Yeah, I think he's just like howling, pretending to be a bear monster thing. There's probably like a legally distinct name from Wookiee for whatever these things are.
Wacky.
Who did he grab to dance? Who wants to volunteer?
Oh, I think it would be Sabina. She's just kind of walking down the street, just kind of
just gets like scooped up in his arms. And he's like humming to himself through the mask and like trying to like keep the fur out of his eyes.
So I have a question.
Yes.
How good a dancer is the Reverend?
Define good. Do you mean like technical skill or like?
No, let's go with like he grabs Sabina to pull her into the dance, and as they start dancing, is it fluid or is she going to trip and fall because he can't keep his feet straight?
Oh no, it's very fluid.
Okay.
I mean, Sabina has seen him dance at many a party that he wasn't supposed to go to.
True.
She knows he's a good dancer, albeit a little bit ridiculous. He has a flair for the dramatic. Probably lots of dips.
Yes.
Probably lots of dips, lots of like really fast spinning.
And she will keep up with him until the end of the song, at which point she's going to turn to him and say, "It's very pleasant, Reverend. I need a drink.
May I buy you one?"
Sure.
With
her looking around going, "But the bar's an open bar."
I don't know if he's realized that yet.
Has he?
He's totally been paid for his drinks. So yeah, he goes over and he just like sets a bunch of money on the table. You don't know where he gets this money from. He just has it. You don't even know where it comes out. It's just in his hand and it's just on the table.
Okay. And
when we question, I do actually have a legit question. We danced. Was it cold and professional or close and warm?
it was not cold and professional, but it was not like almost emotional, not emotionally void, but like what's the word I'm looking for here?
It was like
almost performance professional, like almost.
Okay, but it wasn't like, oh, he's kind of cute in his fursuit.
It was along the lines of like, wait, I wasn't expecting this. Oh wait, I'm in public. I need to actually look like I'm doing this correctly. Oh crap, I'm going to fall back on the training and just become the professional that I am, and then breathe and think for a minute and go, oh yes, okay, yes, a drink would be very nice. Thank you very much. And that was more warm than the dance was.
Okay. Yeah, so he gets you a drink that he didn't have to pay for, but he did.
Odd.
Yeah, and I think he just tries to like chat you up for a bit because, you know, he's a gross man.
who thinks that no one knows who he is.
Yeah, totally. Well, he knows you know because you said it,
yeah.
But he's like, oh, God, you figured out it was me. But he's like, whatever. Yeah, of course she knows me. We're on the same wavelength. And he's like full of himself and arrogant. Does anyone else have like a question or a mini scene?
Elle, you.
Yes. I asked the first question.
You did.
You haven't asked any.
Me? I have. I'm going to start moving after the dance. She's going to finish the drink, have a polite conversation, and just kind of continue working the room, looking for an opportunity at the moment, and then kind of move around and kind of
Yes.
ask learn about you. Sorry, I'm looking at words and reading things. I'm professional and I've done this before. Yeah, that is it. She's going to work her way back around to the Reverend by this point, who I think by this point has had a few more drinks.
Yeah, he's literally howling at the moon. Just
yeah. Okay. There's that.
This is the best prop ever.
And she's just going to pull one of these, you know, just kind of like, well, when your guard is down, what does she learn about you?
I think you don't already know.
There's that. Yeah, there are things that she doesn't know. There's things she wants to know.
What kind of information are you fishing for here?
Are
you fishing for dirt, or are you fishing for like, I want to actually get to know this person on a personal level?
I think she's more like she's seen him around enough, and she knows, and she has enough dirt on him that she doesn't need that anymore. I mean, if she wanted to, she could totally destroy him. She hasn't yet.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, she shows up in his bath and knows everything that he's doing. So at this point, she probably could. But now she's like, okay, he's not entirely devoid of possibilities. Now she needs to know what he's like personally to find out if she's going to destroy him or not. Like if he has any redeeming qualities other than dancing.
Other than dancing? I think it's like because you've played the social game before.
Yeah.
There's this It definitely happens because I'm in sales. There's definitely this thing that happens in sales where you can see a person turn on.
Yeah.
And you can also see someone turn off for just the briefest of seconds, and you get like an actual glimpse into their personhood.
Mm-hmm.
And there is just the slightest moment where he was a little bit embarrassed that you saw him howling at the moon. And it just tells you this is all just a ridiculous act.
Okay. Possibly redeemable.
Even the ridiculousness of him being in a bath with a martini is just like him almost played a character because he doesn't turn off. And you see through that one little micro lapse of it's something ridiculous, like a brief look of shame crosses his face that he's never had before. And I think and then I think he just throws it out of his mind. And then he just goes back into being ridiculous him.
There was a possibility. And she just kind of does one of these and glances
I'm
across.
Sorry? What? Possibility?
Yes. Maybe. No. And happens to glance across. Kirix, you came! Pleasure! And just kind of floats away.
Yeah. I really hope we don't get the VOD muted because this is a copyrighted sound. Okay, just checking. Moving on. What's going on with everybody else?
So what's Kirix doing in this party?
Yeah, I think that Kirix did some dancing and is now kind of sitting away from the crowd a bit and has a partway through a drink. And my question is, we sit away from the crowd. Do we sit close or at a distance?
Who is that to? I'm sorry.
Who do you think?
It was
I don't know. It could be anyone. And I'm lost you guys for a second, so I'm honestly asking.
Okay.
Okay.
No, literally.
Yes, I was asking Sabina.
Sabina. Okay.
We sit away from the crowd. Do we sit closer or distance?
I figure by this point of night, she's kind of relaxed a little bit. So she's just kind of going to sit back and just, it's a pleasure that you've come to visit. And that kind of not space, allowing personal space and personal bubble, but not separate sides of the bench. Still available to have a conversation.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And Kirix kind of positions themselves, turns their body a little bit to be more angled towards her.
Mm-hmm.
And their round scampers up their skirt and sits between them.
Yeah, the rat is the chaperone.
Leave room for Jesus, guys.
Room for which Jesus?
Not that our minds both went there.
The fact that all three of our minds went there. You can't dance that close. You need to leave room for the Holy Spirit. Mm-hmm. We can go there all day. Mm-hmm. And worse things. And Sabina's gonna turn to you and say, well, it's very kind of you to come. Are you having fun? Are you at least enjoying yourself?
Yes, I am. I got to see the Reverend dance, which is always a treat.
Isn't it? Sometimes okay. When he starts howling, it's a little weird, but the dancing is good. We should just need to take the mask away from him and then
Do we just see in the background someone literally rip his mask off and just start yelling at him for howling?
It's Nona Conchetta. It's the Nona yelling at him.
He's like trying to apologize. Oh, this is ridiculous.
Fun.
I love it.
All the fun. Do you think, Kyrix, that he's redeemable?
I think that he's not terribly committed to his cause.
That's the understatement of the year.
So...
Whatever.
Very true, though. So if
I don't know if we necessarily want him.
Well, I mean, from a professional standpoint, stopping back from other reasons, but from a professional standpoint at the minute, he does have certain authority with the church at the moment. If we removed him from that position of authority and or broke the church as a whole, would that not be to our benefit as in all of us?
Yeah, then I could be a hedonist all the time. I'd love this deal.
It would also break the church. I'm for this at the moment.
Talk to me about this.
We're getting there. We don't know if you're worthy yet.
Okay.
She has to decide if you're worthy.
Please continue. I'm sorry.
His breaking the church would be to our advantage, but there is work that he can do while he's still in that position if we can angle some things.
So if we happened to arrange, I mean, we'd have to be nicer to him.
I'm
not forgiving his
to him.
I'm not forgiving his debt. He still owes money.
Of course not.
The money is a separate issue. But if we can maybe educate him on things he's missing.
We could do that. Think he'd be amenable?
Well, considering how well he dances, I think it might be time for you to see if he can dance as well.
We just get a smash cut to him like throwing them in the air.
a full Addams Family tango.
Yes. No, it's the dirty dancing.
The dirty dancing mambo lift. Yeah.
Yes. We dance. Is it cold and professional or close to the water?
It's definitely not cold and professional.
I mean, there's so much sliding scale involved in that option.
I know.
Yeah,
I know. It's a prompt. It's not a specific.
It's like they're like humoring him.
I think he's aware. Like he's aware he's being humored, but it's fine.
Yeah.
Okay. Are we all good to keep going, or do we need to take a brief break?
I'd like to take a brief break.
Okay, can we take a, I don't know what is industry standard on this show, like 5 minutes? Let's take a 5, everybody. Thank you for watching. This has been the first part of Play to Find Out. That's my other show. Once Upon a Game. Thank you. I'm a professional. See you in a bit. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Once Upon a Game. We are playing a game I designed called Seasons of the Witch, and the game is Seasons of the Witch. Shall we resume?
Yes.
Awesome. Anyone want to initiate a scene now that the festival has ended?
I think Sabina is going to attempt a ritual.
Okay.
And that she's going to go to Kirix to get assistance in this ritual.
Okay.
And that she is attempting to work around the protections of the church. She knows she can astral project into wherever the Reverend is and find him, but she needs to break through the protections of the church so that she can actually be there and affect things and break things there.
Okay.
And I think she'd go to Kirix because she's going to need their help in this.
Yes. Kirix is definitely willing to help with this.
And I think it's going to be a kind of like experimental ritual, because I don't think anyone with the church has ever attempted to break the protections of the church, or if they have, it hasn't gone well.
They don't have any white hack magic hackers.
No, I'm not even going to try and credit that. No, it's not happening. Sorry, by the way, guys, no, this is just cranberry juice for right now. But I think so. It will be probably not the safest of rituals.
Mm-hmm.
The ritual is weakening me. Do you lend a hand or let it spiral out of control?
I'm going to lend a hand.
Okay. And how are you going to do that?
What does this ritual look like?
For some reason, I'm imagining it's really understated.
Yeah, I think it would be really...
Like, I imagine it's just the two of you, like, staring intently at a candle that's flickering slightly for some reason. Maybe not that understated, but something very small.
There would probably be protections around us, because I don't know what would happen if it failed, and I don't want to destroy like an entire city block. I think that would be a bad idea. Also because she knows when she gets angry, things get more complicated.
My rat is safely outside, watching from the safety of outside of the circle, just in case anything goes wrong.
And so it's so there would probably be a circle, and then probably she had liberated at some point some symbol of the church that she could use. Not a symbol of the Reverend, but the actual church itself. Like a hymnal or something. She's kind of...
It's totally the Reverend's staff with a crucifix or whatever on it, like a moon symbol on it. It's totally something you just stole from him when he didn't realize it.
Yeah, he wasn't paying attention. He was a little too intoxicated at the time. It's fine.
Pretending to be a bear. It's fine.
And it's kind of going to be now all I can see is Willow in the finale of Buffy with the scythe, and just kind of going to use that as the channel through which she's going to white hair this whole thing.
Mm-hmm.
So, and then she's just going to start overpowering everything. How is Kirix going to help?
I think the Kyrgyz is being like a stable point that that Sabina is doing all this stuff, and that like Kyrgyz is more like her tie back to like the real and physical world. So I think that they they have some sort of like box of spices that's like a scent thing, like a Havdalah box of spices.
Mhm.
I don't remember what they're called, and I should, but I don't. And they like have like one of those, and they're using that to like keep Sabina from like overstretching.
Like magically empowered smelling salts.
Yeah.
Okay. So she's going to attempt this ritual. And by this point, she probably is so focused on the ritual that you could ask her anything and she will respond with the truth. Do you ask her anything?
Like, what's your like end goal in everything? What's the thing you're working towards?
She's kind of so focused, and she goes, our protection, of course. Survival is always the end goal. And personal pleasure is not a bad thing.
Okay. Oh, didn't really learn anything new there, but hey, good to know.
She's been straight up and honest with you the entire time. All right. And then, because I'm doing this, so do you have any questions for this ritual?
I think I'm also going to do the I feel alive with magic. Any question you ask, I will respond with the truth.
Okay. And then I figure in response to that, because she's so focused on this, and Sabina will turn to you and say, don't you agree? Don't you want us to be protected and safe from them and, personal pleasure?
More of the protection, maybe less of the personal pleasure.
To each their own. So then the question becomes, according to the rules, all the players vote on out of character on success or failure. Do we agree whether this ritual succeeds or not?
You're muted.
I'm aware. I personally think it would be more interesting if you failed. Not because I don't want to see the church burn. I actually kind of think that's where I want it to go. But I think it's more interesting if Reverend Daughter realized you were doing something.
Okay.
But that is my vote.
Because it'd be really interesting if it was kind of like scrying, if it actually worked or not. We just rolled for it. Because now I want to see if it worked. Now I want to see if he can determine whether he detects us or not.
Yeah.
I mean,
think
that is well within the spirit.
Interesting.
I mean, it can succeed, and I can just find out. Like, that's a thing we have the authority to do.
No, but I'm saying is like during the course of the attempt of the ritual, can he determine whether it's happening and then work against it?
That is absolutely something I should add. Thank you. Playtesting, everybody!
I'm here all week, and
I'll send you some of my dank new Patreon money that Contact just sent me.
It's okay. It just means that I'm going to recruit you for the 24th. It's fine.
Okay.
So yeah, why don't we play it like? What do you think, Elle? Does that play? Particularly because the attempt
I think it's interesting.
Because the
I
attempt
think it's
of
interesting other ways.
Yeah. So I think that because of the way this ritual is designed, it would almost be like destructive scrying. So let's see if he can Let's see if the dear Reverend knows that I'm there, attempting to destroy everything he's worked so hard for. And cares about so much.
He does not. He decidedly does not. That's disappointing.
You've only rolled 6s and 1s.
Yeah.
There's no middle ground here, is there?
There's not. In the end, they're the same thing. It's either anyway. Bleh. So yeah, So how does this change the worlds of the like rules of the world, so to speak?
I don't think Sabina's trying to change the rules of the whole world. I think she's trying to change the rules of this environment. Because I figure this isn't the only city in the world.
Absolutely.
This isn't the only manifestation of the church. She's thinking in steps. She has to corrupt this particular, well, no, not corrupt, reveal his own individual corruption to this individual priest. Convert him.
Okay, yeah.
Then lead him the garden path and have him lead a whole bunch of other people down the garden path. It's great. So I think she's going to break the wards around the church that prevent her from acting magic within the boundaries of the church.
There's totally going to be a battle there later. That'll be great. I have an idea for a scene now.
Okay.
Yeah.
Hear me out. I want to steal time with someone.
Okay.
I want to steal time with. I think Sabina's the one that makes the most sense in this context because you just attempted this ritual.
Okay.
I don't think it's like romantic tryst steal time. I think it's like I'm getting you in a private space to interrogate you. Is basically what I want to have happen.
You know, that would work.
Oh, I love it. Yeah, that works for me.
This is going to be interesting.
Yeah, I think. What's your like apartment or room or whatever like?
I think she's got. Lord, I'm just gonna lean into it. She's dude, by this point, there's no more leaning. It's just like the wall's broken. It's fine. She has a very nice, but simple 2-story house, and on the first floor is kind of like her shop. That she maintains, where she maintains a more public persona of a jeweler.
Legitimate businesswoman, yes.
Yes, okay. A legitimate businesswoman. I'm a very legitimate businesswoman.
If you would have said like flower shop, I would have been more excited. It's very the towny. Anyway.
No. She likes to light things on fire. The flowers wouldn't work with the theme. But she can use the fire to make jewelry, which is what she does. So she has a small jewelry shop on the first floor, and on the second floor is her private space, and it's got a very open area and with a larger kitchen space, and you can kind of tell that half of it is for actual cooking and feeding of the world, and the other half is for more private magical means. And it's like, why should I create 2 different spaces? I'm going to need the garlic and the rosemary for both things. Why make myself go to 2 different places? I make my life easy. It's all here. But it's very obviously delineated, so there's no cross-contamination.
Yeah. What do you do when you set your coffee cup down and it turns into mirrored glass?
Really? You're going to do this now?
Yes, I'm going to do this now. Yeah, the whole room just becomes like Doctor Strange mirror dimension.
I was drinking that. What do you need now?
Just a chat. Someone broke my wards.
That sounds so shameful. Who could have possibly done that?
I know you know. I just want to know who it was.
That's information, darling, and that will cost you.
Will it? Don't you know the rules? The first hit is always free.
Yes, but you're so far beyond the first hit that I couldn't even count anymore.
Then just start over from 1. Yeah. I think he picks up your cup of coffee and offers you a token of your coffee. Do you accept it? It's like fixed now that he's touching it.
What else did you do to my coffee? She's going to take it and just kind of sniff it. She's going to take it and she's just going to sniff it and go, you left the lemon behind. I can't have espresso without lemon rind.
Lemon rind.
Thank you. And she's going to twist it into her espresso and drop it in.
You're so Italian.
Yes. Yes, I am. My mother's family might be from a small town on the east coast of Sicily named Giardini Noxus. It's fine. Taormina is a great place. I may have relatives there. It's great.
Yes. So he hands you coffee, your espresso.
Because that's how you start the day. Fine. You wish to know who broke your wards. Why?
Don't get me wrong, I love visitors, but certain securities are in order. You know. Don't want people walking in on me in the bath and all that. I know it was Curix. Just tell me it was so I can go deal with them.
That's a very odd assumption you're making. I honestly think I'm insulted. And she snaps her fingers and the room goes back to where it is and you're standing in the middle of a circle.
Well, that answers that question.
I honestly do think I'm insulted. I mean, I understand they've got this whole lineage thing. They're all fancy. They've got the rat. What do you think I do every day?
I mean, I know mostly what you do every day.
No, you don't know what I do every day. You think you know what I do every day. Because all you know is what you have to deal with. You don't have to actually see what I deal with every day. You don't see with all the business I'm taking care of and how many people I have to feed and how many people I have to clean up for. And do not get me started on the moron that you have stationed down the street staring at me every weekend. That's crazy.
I can move him.
So could I, as I've obviously shown you. But no, you have to insult me by assuming that I can't do something.
No, but you did just tell me that you did. Thank you.
Yes, I did. Now, get out. And she breaks the circle. But are you going to leave or are you going to stay? I did tell you I was going to play angry.
I know. I think he just reaches out and just maybe grabs something off the counter. What does he pick up?
I figure at this point it's early in the morning, so she hasn't actually gotten started with everything yet. There's probably a pot that's boiling over. You can smell tomato and basil and garlic.
Yeah, I think he just reaches over and lifts that off the heat.
You're gonna take my tomato sauce?
No, I'm going to move it. 'Cause I'm nice sometimes. Why do you want to break my wards? You can already come talk to me whenever you want.
Darling, sometimes I don't want to talk.
Then let's not talk.
Not now. You woke me up and you bothered me, and you've taken my tomato sauce off the flame that it needs to be on.
Puts it back.
For another 6 hours.
It was boiling over. Would you like me to turn down the flame then?
Do I come into your kitchen and tell you how to cook?
No. You definitely come into my bath and bother me.
You owe me money.
What I got to do to get my debts expunged? Just expunged.
Expunged. That's an interesting concept. I wonder, could you afford it? Could you afford what I would ask of you?
I don't know unless you ask.
Okay. I want you to go visit Kyrix and have a conversation. Just a conversation. Without any weapons, without any guards. Just you and them. For 6 hours.
Sure.
And I don't want you to use any magic.
That complicates things, but sure.
And I think, she looks you up and down, you might need a wardrobe change.
Okay, what do we see him walking walking up to her house wearing?
I think it's going to be something upper class, but entirely removed from any connection of the church. So Sabina basically removes any physical reminder of the church from the Reverend, from daughter.
We get the daughter will remember this text that pops up in the corner of the screen.
What's Sabina's end goal here? Because
I'm curious about that too. Because he basically just said, "I'll do whatever you want, forgive my debts, and maybe kiss me," because that sounds nice. Is realistically what he said, or what he thinks he said.
Yep, I know.
Okay, just checking.
But he's given her the opportunity to get anything he wants, and he said that he would do anything to get rid of those debts, including possibly have a conversation with the mortal enemy of the church and possibly remove any connection that he has to the church, and maybe change his mind in a couple ways.
You're gonna blackmail him, and I love it. Okay, yeah.
Oh yeah, that's option number 2.
Yeah, he shows up. He shows up.
What scene type is this?
Is it another? I mean, is it a conversation over food? Is it even a scene? Like, do we need to have a scene for this? Can it just be he shows up, he talks to you, he leaves? Or do we want to play that out?
I think there would be a lot like the first conversation they had over food. So I don't know if we need to play it out, but we should figure what the end result is.
I mean, I figure part of Sabina's goal was to remove any physical reminders that he would have that he's a member of the church and send him off to this entirely alien environment to try and for an extended period of time, specifically to try and get Kyrix to convince him that the church is wrong and he needs to start thinking differently.
Okay.
And so she's removed any physical reminders that he could look at and say, yeah, this is my armor that would protect me against this. This is my thing. And instead, yeah, I'm going to pull that teacher card. I'm going to make you two sit down in a corner together, and you're going to talk out your feelings and what your real problems are and come to an agreement. Yeah, she's pulling that card. But she knows that daughter is the problem here and not Curix, so she has to break him first.
Okay. Because we're sort of running short on time.
Yeah.
Because of me. I think not playing that out is interesting. What if we just jump like 6 months in the future and see where everyone ended up?
Oh yeah, let's do that. Let's go with Elle. She has not talked recently.
I know. I'm sorry, Elle.
It's okay.
They have not. I'm very sorry. I keep doing that. And I apologize, and I'll be very honest, Elle. The reason I keep messing up that pronoun for you is because Elle is she in French, and I keep making that immediate connection in my head.
Yeah.
Too many languages, and I really apologize for that.
How many languages do you speak? That's for later. We're running out of time.
Yeah.
So, zoop, fast forward 6 months in the future.
I think that depends on the status of the church.
Okay, then I guess I'll go first. We see daughter doing his thing. I think we finally figure out how he's getting all the money. He's totally taking indulgence money. So we see him just walk up to a big box of indulgences. This is Mother Goddess, forgive me for my sins, and puts like just a whole bunch of money inside. Looks at it for a second, flips it open, takes the bag that's lining it out and just like shoves it down his shirt and just walks out of the church. And into the world, never to return. He's got his money. This was one last con, and he's just like, yeah, nope, I'm out. I'm out. My debts are cleared. No one's going to come out after me. I've got more money that I know what to do with because I've been stealing indulgences for fucking knows how long. I'm going to go do something ridiculous somewhere else. Bye. I wash my hands.
Okay.
I don't think that's exactly what she wanted, but I think it's close enough.
It's close enough. I figure Sabina would be kind of like, all right, well, you win some, you lose some, but I got what I wanted out of this deal.
I mean, if you ask him to work for you, he'll work for you.
I think by this point she would. I don't know. I think she would have like before he left town would have said, "I know some people. Allow me to provide you some introductions. Here are a couple names, and be polite."
Absolutely. On one condition.
What?
You let me buy you a drink next time you come to the city.
Darling, I only drink at my own bars. I'll buy you one.
Even better. Ta. Throws a rucksack of money over his shoulder.
It's a comically large bag.
Comically large bag with a dollar sign pasted on it. Hanging from a stick. And it's the same stick, and it's just barely covering like the symbol of whatever faith he was or is. It's hard to tell. Perfect. Who's next?
Curix is still like, I think that like the ritual with Sabina has like kind of like pushed them more towards being offensive towards the church, but in more subtle ways, because I found this spell in the Greek magical papyrus I have open in front of me that's to send dreams. And I think that Kyrix has been like sending false prophetic dreams to members, to like high-ranking members of the church, to try and convince them to like move in specific ways, and it's like slowly like breaking down the church through sending dreams. The first step of this spell, by the way, is make a hippopotamus of red wax. And then there's like 5 more steps, including one that's like you have to get some papyrus and write on it with myrrh ink and baboon's blood.
Like you do.
Yeah.
I'm all for it.
I love this. I love this idea. This is great. That's ridiculous. Yeah, so we just see a bunch of like old men waking up with night sweats.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that'd be great. And I think we cut back to that 6 months later after, you know, daughter is left and is no longer a member of the church and is now working for the family. And you just see Sabina.
Oh, I'm working both sides. I just got a different parsonage.
You think you do.
I'm sure. And
you just see Sabina kind of walk into this very large, you know, it's this, you have this panning shot of this large ornate house with very fine stucco and tile, and she just kind of walks through the doors and turns and walks through the side doors to the room to the side, where you see this group of older ladies all arranged very sedately behind, you know, in what would have probably been like a conservatory, or kind of like a cross between a sewing room and a study. And you just kind of see her bow her head and just kind of produce an image of daughter and an image of the of Kyrix, and you have the Godfather doors closed behind Michael. It's like, yes, the family is succeeding. We are totally destroying both of our enemies at the same time, and they don't know it.
Perfect. Well, that's going to do it for Seasons of the Witch. Thank you both for playing with me, and Eric, thank you for hosting. This game is available to patrons. I have noticed that a couple people have signed up. Thank you. You get more games like this. I design a new game every 6 months, every 30 days, functionally, every month. And this was one of the games that was designed on that project and voted for by my patrons. Thank you. If you want to support me, you can do it at Swiftgate Design. D, do some outros.
Okay. I am D or Deirdre. I respond to either. You can find me in Twitch at Praxagora Thesmiophoria. I am also on Twitter at Deirdre Donlin. And I believe later this month, I will also be running a game for Eric, because I am a crazy person and believe that the world needs more Hellenistic Greek heroines to torture the world with.
I also agree with you, and I'll need to play this game. I don't think I can play it next time, but yes.
Okay. That's me.
I'll do some shout-outs.
Hi, I'm Elle. You can find me on Twitter at OccasionalL, and it's Non-Binary People in TTRPG month, the month that I created and am running, I guess. So you can find everything about that at Non-Binary TTRPGM on Twitter. We have a Discord. We have a calendar. I'm running Dungeon World every Thursday at twitch.tv/Harpydora. We have no humans. We have a golem, a kobold, an Asimar, and who was the other short one? No, we got
No.
Oh, and a salamander.
That's awesome. Well, thank you all for playing. This has been Once Upon a Game. You should absolutely support Eric by subscribing or supporting him on Patreon, whichever you prefer. Thank you for coming, and have a great night.
Good night.